Greetings, I'm PRANJLI on behalf of the World Affairs Council of Atlanta, and I'm here at the Consul General of France with Consul General himself, Louis de Corail. Consul General, thank you so much for speaking with me. Why don't we begin by talking a little bit about your background, where in France you come from, and what made you pursue a career in diplomacy?
I come from Paris, mostly. I was born in the southwest, but I was raised in Paris. And what led me to diplomacy is a mix of chance and interest. I actually had to go to Africa for 2 years under the former military service, which was not military, but as a teacher. And after that, I continued on and took the exam to the Foreign Service. So it was always an interest for me, international relations and other countries and cultures, but it was also a mix of studies and requirements in the case of the former military service.
So you've been stationed at Fiji, Croatia, Ireland, Norway, and Canada before, and now you're in the United States of America. How have your experiences differed from your experience here, and how do you think they have impacted the work that you do here?
Well, our postings are both similar and different every time. You work in an embassy, you find the same tools, the same practices, and you also find many different things every time because you live in a different country. Things are different because you don't do the same thing in Western Africa as in Norway or Canada, and you have to learn again your trade every time. So in this case, here in the US, I already knew the US, to be honest, because I had been a student at NYU many years ago before joining the Foreign Service. So I knew the US, so I knew the language, I knew a little bit about Americans, and although you cannot say that New York and the Southeast are exactly the same type of US, US is a very diverse country. So all the past experiences helped me, but still you always need to learn. Every day I learn new things, and I have to adapt to new conditions. And if there's one word for this job, it's adapting all the time to new situations.
So you talked a little bit about change and adaptation. Just going off of that, I recently read that the French and U.S. relations have become stronger over time. I know President Macron is going to visit Washington later this month, and he's in fact the first foreign official to come for a state visit with President Trump. So looking at how strong these relationships are, what do you see as the future of French-U.S. relationships, and what do you think impacted the strengthening of it?
Well, for the future, I do not have any crystal ball, so I'm not going to speculate what the future will be. The past, we have a long tradition and alliance with the U.S. We are actually the U.S.'s oldest ally for many reasons. History, we all know history, the history of the U.S. and France. What happened in the past 12 months, to be more precise, is that there are new leaders on both sides of the Atlantic. So it's a conjunction of several changes taking place in our countries, both the U.S. and France, and young leaders bring new ideas. That's the kind happening in France. But beside the new ideas, there's the tradition and the rich relation between our two countries. So we invent new things, we create new things, but we rely on a long-standing tradition between France and the US. So our leaders will be able to discuss current problems, but they will also be able to build on the existing excellent relations. So it's a mix again of new and traditional relations.
So you mentioned about how U.S. is a diverse country, and Southeast in specific is different from how you said your experience in New York was. So as the French representative here, how do you think the strengthening of ties has impacted French business and culture in the Southeast region?
Well, it's all due to the Southeast dynamic trends and momentum. The Southeast is a growing region, and since I've been here, it's about a year and a half now, I've noticed how many companies, for instance, have moved their headquarters to the Southeast from other parts of the US, which means they find this region attractive for different reasons. And therefore, you can build on that momentum. The US is constantly reinventing and creating new jobs and new areas, new sectors, but the Southeast is definitely on the way up. So this is how we, the foreign consulates here in Atlanta, try to promote also the Southeast as a new region and as a region which is on the rise and attracting new investment, new jobs, new companies. And for us, it's important that our opinion makers, our leaders, our business communities are aware of this momentum in the Southeast.
So last year you spoke at a council program, the New Face of France, which was around the time of the French presidential election. You touched on EU and the French relations with the US at that time. This year on EU Day on May 9th, you are one of our speakers for France Emergence, which is our program. So what would be the key points that you would be discussing this year?
I'll be happy to answer all the questions about France and the new France, although this kind of phrase just, is a bit of a short-lived new expression. There's something about my country which is moving at the moment and which has been recognized in the international media under the global feeling that France is back, France is again at the forefront of Europe, and I'll be happy to discuss that with Ambassador Shapiro and also other panelists who will testify what is moving and changing in France at the moment, including the president of the Small and Medium Enterprise Confederation, who will be the best witness for you and us here of the changes that are taking place in France at the moment. So I'll be concentrating on this and how this new momentum also can be felt here in the U.S.
Well, so Consulate and the Council are longstanding partners. The Consulate is a member of the World Affairs Council. So how do you think the relationship between the two has benefited the Metro Atlanta community?
Well, I think we both have in common the international relations interest, and it's in our DNA. International affairs is our job and our life. And for Atlanta Metro and the city of Atlanta, it's very important to open up and have an opening mind towards the international community, international business and partners. So we've done that. We've as the French consulate, it's our job. We work with the city of Atlanta and the mayor's office, for instance, for international relations, is a very important partner for us and for the World Affairs Council, because we can promote our city, our common city, Atlanta. Atlanta has sister cities in the world, including in France. The World Affairs Council is a partner in that. We can showcase our partners and our cities, and both ways. Atlanta in France, with the mayor's office, the previous mayor and the new mayor, and conversely bring cities like Toulouse or other players in France to Atlanta, and that's important for our common life in Atlanta.
So I have one last question for you, Consul General. Given your vast experience in diplomacy and international affairs, what would be a few words that you would like to say to young French Americans looking to get involved in matters of diplomacy?
Young French Americans, you said, or your Americans? I would encourage all of them to look outside the box and outside the borders. It's a big world. We need to be aware of what's going on outside, because it directly touches our lives. And I'm pleading for my own, of course, job and trade, but we benefit. We always benefit from looking outside and knowing the others and knowing what's going on outside our countries. So Americans, as all of us on this planet, should be listening and attuned to the rest of the world, so we can both, benefit from this kind of common work. We have many problems and global issues, not just mentioning climate, but the peace, security, and global issues are always there. And if we don't have this open mind and international orientation, we will probably not be able to solve this as quickly as we should. So again, be open and check out what's going on outside.
Well, thank you so much, Consul General. It was very nice talking to you. We have our Europe Day program coming up on May 9th, and more details can be found on the WAC Atlanta website. And thank you once again. It was really great speaking to you.
Thank you.